What did Abu Sufyan come and tell Imam Ali? He says to him, and he knocks at his door, and he says, look, how could you allow Abu Bakr and Umar to take power? He's telling this to Imam Ali. And Abu Bakr says, look, Imam Ali says, look, I don't trust you, anything you say, so get away from me, get out of here. What does that tell us? When someone tries to disunite us, we should say, get away from me. This is my brother and sister in faith. They believe in one God. If not in faith, in creation, we're all brothers and sisters. I'm not going to hurt anybody. Now this is Imam Ali's advice and guidance. And Abu Sufyan didn't stop. He said, look, we'll get horses, we'll get weapons, and we're going to help you. He says, get away from me. I've never trusted you, and you're always trying to cause fitna within this faith. Just get away from us. Now, that is the main point that we should learn from. But still, if there's brothers and sisters of other schools of thought, when they look at the Shia, or when the Sunnis are being analyzed by the Shia, and they say, well, why are you doing this and why do you do that? There's so many misunderstandings. There's so much, weird beliefs of each other. To the point I've heard some people say, oh, those people, they have tails. What the heck is that? Where do we even believe that from a human being having tails? Yeah, the Shia, they're like, they have tails. Or these guys, they're like, shaitan, and come on, this is all nonsense. We should not believe this. And if someone says this, as I told you, they're causing fitna, and don't follow it. But let's clarify the misconceptions. Today, I'm not going to be able to resolve anything. We have to at least have a better understanding of each other, of different schools of thought. Understand why we do different things. It's okay to have a different view. I'm telling you, if for example, if anybody's been married, everybody's going to be different. Your wife is going to say make a right when you're lost, and you're going to say, no, I'm going to go left. That happens. This is normal in humanity. Even twins are not identical. We know that. They don't think alike. So don't expect everybody to just be just like you. It's not going to happen. Okay, we're not going to compromise on our beliefs. We're not going to compromise on the truth of the Quran, of the teachings of Allah. We're just going to have to decipher what is the truth. And that's what we're trying to do in this world. Okay, I don't know if anybody's heard of this, because I spoke to some people last time and they were shocked. There's a misconception that they think that the followers of Ahlul-bayt, the Shia, are actually a Jewish sect.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when I heard that, I laughed and said, what? If that's the case, Nasrallah and Israel will be best friends today. It's not true. Or Iran and Israel will be best friends, but it's not true. They hate each other. There's animosity, not in terms of individually, but because of the political beliefs.
But they still go on about this, even in light of Iran condemning Israel. I have Sunni man them tell me all the time, oh, it's just a show, they're really colluding behind the scenes.
Yeah, this is one of these conspiracy theories that actually is not true.
I came into the Sunni school first before I came to Ahlul-bayt, and this myth of Abdullah ibn s.a.w.
Excellent.
I debated,
I'm going to bring that up.
I debated some brothers from NAP, they're big Imam Sharia about this.
Yes.
And laid out the whole myth of Abdullah ibn s.a.w. I was created by a hater of the Ahlul-bayt. And many of the Sunni big scholars actually say the person who started this, you shouldn't take any hadith from this person.
Exactly.
It's a big fraud. And then I challenged them. I said, now that I've brought this light to you,
yes,
are you going to tell me you're going to go around, every time you hear this brought up, you're going to tell your brothers to stop telling this? You think they're going to say yes?
No. And especially if you go online, everybody's quick to say, this group is Yahud, or this group is a kafir, and we're quick to even condemn some of the greatest companions of the Prophet. I'm shocked that we sometimes see that. Like, for example, everybody condemns the person who raised the Prophet. I'm shocked. How can you say that? Anyway, we'll get to that point. But let's talk about what he said. Abdullah ibn s.a.w. He was, they say, from Yemen. They say he was Jewish. And according to some of the followers of Ahlul-bayt, he didn't even exist. It's all a lie, as his brother was saying. But even if he did, whatever he did was fitna, hypocrisy, and it's all lies. So why would we even be started by a group from him? And he came during the time of Uthman. So they're saying this group, one group who's they call them the followers of Ahlul-bayt, started during the time of Uthman. But multiple Sunni scholars state that, as you mentioned, Sayyid bin Umar is the guy you're talking about, concocted this idea about Abdullah ibn s.a.w. It's not even true. And they need to go back to their own books and you'll see it's not even true. Come on, we're all saying We want to follow the Prophet. People who fold their hands felt that's how the Prophet prayed. People put their hands straight when they felt that's how the Prophet prayed. We're all trying to find the purity. And there was fitna that was developed and put in front of us. It's okay, don't follow this way of life because these people are crazy. I'll give you an example. I was trying to watch things online, and this one guy is saying, don't talk to the followers of Ahlul-bayt. It's better to drink alcohol and do drugs than to talk to them. Don't talk to them. No, they're dangerous. And when I heard that, I said, what are you trying to hide? Are you trying to hide from people find the truth, search for knowledge? And it's ignorance. And we shouldn't get angry. We shouldn't get so frustrated. We laugh at these guys. This guy's a joke. And someone asks you, are you a Shia Sunni? I say, I'm a Muslim. Or you can call me a sushi. Why? Because I love the Prophet, I follow his sunnah, I love Allah, and I love Ahlul-bayt, and I follow them too. So, if you're going to call me a Muslim, that's good enough for me. This is how we should be. You shouldn't get angry. As soon as you label yourself, now you get caught. Because, oh, okay, so you don't follow the sunnah of the Prophet? Of course we do. We love the sunnah of the Prophet. This is what we should live by. Follow his example. And there's a lot of things brought in to prevent the truth from coming out. Now, this is one. It's just psychological. If I say this person is a thief, you're going to stay far away from him. And if someone who wears the clothes and everybody thinks he's a thief, no one's going to go near him because reputation's been branded. This is what happens. They quickly try to brand one group versus another group. This group is like this and that group's like this, and they're both bad. So this is the danger. We should not be falling victim of that. Yes?
Now, one ironic twist to that is when I was in the Sunni school, that exactly statement you made there is what they used to tell me all the time. Don't talk to the Shia. And I would think to myself, listen, man, I came to Islam by doing my homework. You tell me not to read a book? Yeah. That's what led me into studying the Ahlul-bayt.
Yes.
If you're trying to cover up something, then that means you're up to no good. And what you're covering up is where the good is. So thanks for the heads up, y'all.
Well, some brothers are like you. When they say don't, okay, I will. Some brothers are, okay, no, I won't.
It gave me problems when I was younger, but
yeah, but it's a good way of thinking, meaning don't be a rebel only for the sake of being a rebel, but be a thinker. Don't be just a blind follower. And that's what happens with even the Christians. They're following Jesus as God or the Son of God blindly, and it doesn't make sense. And unfortunately, they're being blocked from seeing the truth, the purity of the truth. And it's the same with amongst Muslims. We as Muslims are in the same problem. For example, chapter 2, verse 23, it clearly says, "Kulla as'alukum alayhi ajran illa mawaddatan fil qurba." The Prophet says, I don't ask you for any reward, nothing, except that you love my family, the kinsfolk. So how could history allow the killing of the family? It doesn't make sense. And we cannot blame the Muslims of today for doing that, because that was 1400 years ago, and that was a wrong way of life, and everybody knows that. So we shouldn't condemn each other, but at the same time, let's find out what happened in history. Now, for example, the idea of the word Shia. I want to explain what the words mean. The word Sunni. Sunni means following the sunnah of the Prophet, the way he lived, his practices. Very simple. Simply to understand. But the word Shia, they say, oh, this word was never there. It came by Abdullah. Please, it's in the Quran, first of all. And let's talk about where the idea came from. The Prophet said it. He's the one who used to call the Shia of Ali. He said, Salman, you're the Shia of Ali. Abu Dhar, you're the Shia of Ali. The followers of Ali. He's the one who said it. And we follow his sunnah. And we want to be the followers of Ahlul-bayt. It's not a problem. I want to be a Sunni too, because I want to follow the sunnah of the Prophet. And why should we follow the sunnah of the Prophet? Because Allah says in Quran, nor does he speak out of desire. وَمَا يَنْتِكُ عَنِ الْحَوَىٰ. The next ayat, who knows? It is not save an inspiration that is inspired. What is it, brother? In huwa illa wahyu yuha. Excellent. It's inspired by God, whatever the Prophet did. Now the problem we have today is, how do we know what the Prophet did? Well, first, the Quran is our basis. If anything contradicts Quran, don't follow it. Clearly. So if anybody says, hate the family of the Prophet, we just proved it. No, it doesn't say that. It says to love the family of the Prophet. If anyone says, kill each other, that's wrong again. If anyone says, hate each other, it's against the Quran. That's the sunnah of the Prophet. So if you look at the books, and I want to bring up both schools of thought, because you may say, look, brother, you're biased because you love Ahlul-bayt. No, I'm just trying to bring out the truth. But I'm going to show you from both schools of thought what the scholars have said. So there's one, for example, his name is Hafiz Abu Nuaym Isfahani. And he relates from Abdullah ibn Abbas in his book, Hilayatul Uliya, relates the verse about this verse. This ayat is very beautiful. Ayat of Quran says, as for those who believe and do good, surely they are the best of humanity. Their reward is with their Lord in gardens and of perpetuality beneath which rivers flow, abiding therein forever. Allah is well pleased with them, and they are well pleased with Him. That is for him who does taqwa to Allah, has a worship of Allah, who is aware of Allah. So the Holy Prophet said to Imam Ali, alayhi salam, O Ali, the best of creatures, khairul bariya, in this holy verse, is for you and your followers, and your Shia. Now the Prophet is saying this. And this is the school of thought, the Sunni school of thought, giving this hadith. It's not a Shia saying this. So what does that mean? Oh, you guys think you're the followers of Ali then? I know, unfortunately, I'm not worthy of saying I am. Because I think that I'm so great and my ego gets to me. I am not. I'm trying to struggle to be like the companions, or even an inch close to them. All of us, we're trying to struggle to be purified, good people. Unfortunately, sometimes our parents, are you talking to that school of thought? Oh, come on, those are kafirs. It's like quick. It's our elders who are the worst ones, unfortunately. They have this hatred, that they've been taught this racism from centuries. Sometimes it's sad is because from the countries they're from. For example, if you're from, say, Afghanistan, and you're being killed, and you're a Hazari, and you're being killed, naturally you're going to have this anger and hatred for the other school of thought who's killing you. Naturally. It's hard to forgive. And you blame all the Muslims of the world because this small group is doing that to your community. It goes both ways. So it's understandable about the anger and animosity that's being developed. But we need to take a step back and swallow our anger and say, no, I cannot blame all of the Muslims of the world for an act of this one person. Like you saw the killing in England. I mean, how could we say that's Islam? That's a crazy person. Or Timothy McVeigh is not a follower of Christianity when he kills people like that. Or Hitler, who says he was a Christian, is not a Christian if he kills people like that. We don't call them Christians. We call them bad people. At the same time, we have to be careful to not get caught with these lies. I'll give you an example. Anybody's from a school of thought where they hear the Shias believe that the Quran is incomplete? Yeah, of course it's complete. I mean, the ayat of Quran that says, Al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum. Allah says, I perfected you for your religion. Allah is clearly saying everything's done now, guys. Come on. The Quran is complete. So the Shias don't believe that it's incomplete. Don't say that. Okay, Sunnis of today are not the killers of the Prophet's family. We know that. You know they say Bismillah in prayers? Some Shias don't. Really? Wow, I didn't know they say Bismillah. Come on. Just because they whisper it doesn't mean that they don't say it. They're the best reciters of Quran in the world. Look at the Egyptian scholars and how they're beautiful reciters of Quran. So we shouldn't condemn if you don't hear something. At the same time, we think, for example, they don't love Ahlul-bayt, or they don't even do salawat. Of course they do. Both schools of thought do. There's another weird belief that they say the Shias believe the Quran should have been given to Imam Ali instead of the Prophet. Who on earth made up this lie? It's not true. The Shias don't believe that. The Shias don't believe Ali is God. We never thought that. We thought he was the successor to the Prophet. But come on. So there's this ignorance, there's these lies being perpetuated. And for example, if you're from one school of thought and you want to follow the truth, you're going to not go that direction when you hear these lies. So let's look at what the Prophet said. Hadith al-Thaqalain. Very common amongst the followers of Ahlul-bayt, they know this ayah. It's an important point the Prophet said in Hadith, and he acknowledged all these things, and it's acknowledged by both sects of faith in all the different Muslim groups. What did the Prophet say? Oh my people, I leave behind for you two great heavy objects of authority. Thaqalain, the Book of Allah, and my family, the Ahlul-bayt. You should remain attached to these things forever. And never, never will you be misled after me, for verily these two shall never, never separate from each other until they meet me in the fountain of Kawthar. This is a very powerful hadith. It's in almost every book in the world in terms of the different schools of thought. Now you may say, well, it's not in one book. It's not in Bukhari, but it's in Muslim, and well, everything is not in every book, but it's in the book of Muslim. For example, if you look at the Sawika Muharrika, it's another Sunni ulama who's written a very good book, and he even quotes Tirmidhi, Ahmad ibn Hanbal, Tabrani, Muslim. They say, know that this hadith concerning the Thaqalain of the descendants in the Quran of the Quran and the descendants of the Prophet has been narrated in so many narrations. And this hadith is made by 22 companions that said this is a true hadith. It's not a khabar wahid hadith from one source. It's from so many sources. So the Prophet is telling you, hold on to the Quran and my family and you will not get lost. So that's a truth. And we need to follow this truth and get rid of the misconception that we say, no, the Quran is enough. Where does it say the Quran is enough? Do you know how to pray? Just follow the Quran? No. We need to follow the Sunnah of the Prophet. How do we know what the Sunnah of the Prophet is? From the teachings of the Prophet, from who wrote it down, and the one who lived with him, like Ali ibn Abi Talib, who saw him how he lived. Okay, now let's look at another hadith. Hadith of Safina, about the Ark of Noah. The Prophet has said, and this is in Muslim bin Hajjaj in his Sahih, so this is in all the different books, and most of the sects of the faith, of different faiths, they believe in this, but look at this verse, this hadith. The likeness of my Ahlul-bayt is like the likeness of the Ark of Noah, the Ark of Noah. He who gets on it will be saved, and he who turns away from it will be drowned and lost. What are they saying? The Ahlul-bayt, you need to be with them in the way they move forward in terms of guiding us. They were the Quran technicians. If you go away from that way, and there's so much hadith that, for example, the Prophet says, "O Umar, obedience to Ali is obedience to me. And obedience to me is obedience to Allah." So he's telling you, follow Ali, and he's going to show you the right path. He's saying that the Prophet, this is in all the hadith. So the different schools of thought, the Shia and Sunni, we should not get angry at each other just because we say, okay, Ali ibn Abi Talib has some knowledge. Even Umar used to ask, if it wasn't for Ali, he was saying, I would be lost. If you read Umar the Great, he said that. If you read all the books where it says Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman asked advice from Ali ibn Abi Talib, he had the knowledge that the Prophet left. So we're saying, follow that. And you may say some schools of thought, they should be following Ali first, and not Abu Bakr Umar Uthman. Come on, it's important that you follow the truth. Now, I'm not going to say one is right versus the other, but at least follow the truth. If they're following what Imam Ali said, because they believe Imam Ali is the fourth Khalifa, and then they say Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, fine. I had a Ghanaian community in New York. I was speaking to them, and they were raising money for Bosnia in the early 90s, and it was fantastic. They did such great work. And they came and told me, I know you're followers of Ahlul-bayt. We are too. Because we believe after Imam Ali, we didn't accept Yazid. We didn't. We didn't accept even Muawiyah. We know what they did. So we follow Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein. I said, fine, we're all brothers, man. Why should we discriminate because you have one view and I have a different? Anyway, Imam Muhammad bin Idris al-Shafi has referred to the authenticity of this hadith, and there's so much authenticity of this hadith. Now you may say, well, I'm living in the 21st century. I don't have time to look at the 6 books. I have no time to be reading the whole Quran. It's sad because we should as Muslims. All of us should, especially the Quran. Well, then go online. There's so many brothers and sisters who are putting together videos, YouTube videos. Now some of it's very anti unity, okay? Some of it's very racist, some of it's very evil, but you should see it. You should see how what people say. For example, if you ever watch The Arrivals number 39, it caused so much unity amongst the Muslims, I wish everybody would see it. Okay, there's some things that doesn't make sense and all that, but at least that point, how we have been victimized as Muslims. Our leaders were killed. All the Imams, from Ali ibn Abi Talib to Imam Hussein, even Uthman was killed, even Umar was killed, everybody was killed. Why? What happened? Because the enemy saw that this is the way to destroy Islam. It's from within. Disunite, divide and conquer, and you'll destroy this faith. Because if you attack from outside, no way we're going to win. There's no way we can meet the Muslims. They're not scared of that. And we know the Muslims are all in love with God and they love doing good. At the same time, we want peace and unity on this earth. We don't want disunity. So, one ayat of Quran, Allah says in chapter 2, verse 124, Allah says, surely I will make you an imam of men to Ibrahim, Prophet Ibrahim, alayhi salam. Ibrahim said, and what about my offspring? And Allah says, my covenant does not include the unjust. He said, what does this prove? This proved the importance of the position of Prophet Ibrahim. And it raised him from the level of Prophet to even higher, to be Imam, to be an Imam as well as Rasul, as a Nabi. As he got to the highest level of prophethood with the Imamate. And so did Ismail and Ishaq. So this proves how important it is. Now if you look at the hadith of Manzil, anyone knows that one? You've heard it, you don't know what it's called. The Prophet says to Imam Ali, you are to me that of Aaron was to Moses, except there will be no prophet after me. And then you've also heard on many occasions the Prophet saying, Ali is to me as Aaron was to Moses. So why all of this unity? Why is this fights? And where did we get lost in this unity? Now, if you've ever lived in a small community, it becomes much easier to have unity. Did you know that? Because today we live, for example, in Toronto, a giant Muslim community. I mean, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of Muslims in this town. Maybe even 500,000, if not more. A lot. Percentage-wise, it's a lot. So we end up falling in our silos. Oh, I want to go in the Pakistani mosque who follows Ahlul-bayt. I want to go in the Iranian mosque who follows, Ismaili. Or I want to go in that mosque that's Chinese and they don't speak English. Come on. Why are we getting in these silos? There's no unity. Now, for example, when I used to live in Geneva, in Switzerland, it's a small town. The whole city is 400,000. I mean, the greater area of Toronto. So when I used to go for Jummah, the only brothers who would come with me are not the followers of Ahlul-bayt, because they generally didn't even work with me. But the ones who did, they didn't even pray. And some of the Sunnis who prayed with me, they didn't even pray. I would have to find brothers. Who wants to go pray? We found a room to pray with. And I found a brother from Senegal. He used to pray every day, religiously. And there was a brother from Sudan, religiously. And they loved Ahlul-bayt. See, that's what Islam is. Forget the titles. You can call yourself the greatest Maraja, the greatest Hazrat, every this and that. It matters what you did. What are you doing? Are you living the truth? Or are you just titling yourself a follower of this guy, but not in practice, by name? Some people say, well, if you cry, or you believe, and I've said this before, and for example, Imam Hussein, you're forgiven forever. Well, who else says that, right? The Christians about Jesus. They say the same thing. Believe in Jesus died for your sins? Oh, okay, you're saved too. Well, Allah says it's your deeds, brothers, your actions. Who you are is what you do, your beliefs. Not just necessarily, saying one thing or that. I mean, it's reality. If you're a horrible human being and you're a killer, but you believe in one thing, it doesn't mean you're going to be saved. Okay, Allah's the judge. I'm not going to judge, but Allah's the judge. So what else? So it's important about imamah. What I gave this ayat, why is it important? Because Allah is explaining the importance of imamah, the importance of having an imam. And what did the Prophet say? Whoever dies without knowing the imam of his age will die the death of an ignorance. So you ask today, who's your imam? Man imamic. I hope it's not going to say some kings from the Middle East, because those guys are not good examples of, unfortunately, Islam. Your imam of today is Imam Mahdi, brothers and sisters. He's our imam, and he will be with us soon, inshallah. Okay, let's go quickly into a few more things. Mubahila. Why is that important? Because when you look at both schools of thought, everybody agrees that this happened. Who did the Prophet bring when the Christians of Najran were challenging the Prophet? Who did he bring?
As himself, Ali.
He brought...
As himself.
Exactly. He brought... They said, I'll read the ayah for you. Bismillahir. فَمَنْ حَاجَّكَ فِيهِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَكَ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ فَقُولْ تَعَالَوْا نَدْعُوا أَبْنَاءَنَا وَأَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَنِسَاءَنَا وَنِسَاءَكُمْ وَأَنفُسَنَا وَأَنفُسَكُمْ. That's what you just said. And bring yourselves. So the Prophet brought as himself, he brought Ali ibn Abi Talib as his helper. He brought his women. He brought Fatima al-Zahra. He brought his children. He brought Hassan and Hussein. He carried Hussein and walked with Hassan in his hand, Ali ibn Abi Talib in the back. And they were going in front of the Christians, and Christians and said, look, if we challenge in a Mubahila these Muslims, we're looking at the purity of these faces of these five, the mountains would crumble. We better run. And they got out of there. Actually, they made an agreement, and there was peace. But that shows you the Prophet brought his family, the importance of his family. And you may say, well, this is what you call nepotism, man. It's not nepotism. This is what Allah has done from beginning. Prophet Adam to Seth, to all the way to Elias, to Nuh, to Ibrahim, to all the Musa, Isa. They're all related, brothers and sisters. They're all related. It's not nepotism. It's purity of the family lineage. This is Allah's decision, nothing to do with us. This is what Allah has decided. That Prophet Muhammad is related to Prophet Ismail, is related to Ibrahim. There's a lineage. Ali ibn Abi Talib is related. There's a reason. It's nothing to do with nepotism. Anyway, so this shows you the purity of the Ahlul-bayt. And a lot of you guys know this. And then after that, in a very similar point of time, there's an ayat of the Quran was revealed, Ya ayyuha Rasul, baligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik, wa in lam taf'al, fama balagta risala, wallahu ya'lam, wallahu ya'simuka minan nas, inna Allah la yahdil qawm al-kafirin. Beautiful ayat. Chapter 5, verse 67. This was after the Prophet's final pilgrimage. When he's leaving, Allah says to him, Ya Rasul, Ya Rasul, baligh ma unzila ilayk. Say what you have to say. And we all know that of Ahlul-bayt. This is the point of Gadir where this verse was revealed and it says, O Messenger, deliver what was revealed to you from your Lord. And if you do not, then you have not delivered the message, and Allah will protect you from the people. And Allah will not guide the unbelieving people. Allah is telling the Prophet, if you do not say this thing, if you do not announce it loudly, which he's done many times in history, but if you don't do it again, then the whole religion is going to be gone. What is this point? So the Prophet goes to the people, and he says to the people, do I not have more authority over you of yourselves? Everybody says, of course. النبي الأولى بالمؤمنين من أنفسكم. Allah says that أنفسكم means that I the Quran was saying the Prophet has greater authority over your own self than you have over your own self. Allah is telling you the Prophet has greater right over your own self. So, what does he say then? And everybody says, yeah, you do have authority over us than we have our own selves. And then he says, yes, brother?
Even before that,
yes.
Which knowing you and your intelligence, you're probably going to get into this anyway. But because a lot of the Sunnis say that he was only dealing with being friends to Ali, before he even mentioned, do I have more authority over you than your own selves, he says, does not Allah have authority over all of us?
Yes.
In other words, showing that the authority that he's demonstrating is not a friendship. It's the same authority that Allah has over you, I have over you, and Ali has over you.
Beautiful.
It's not a friendship thing, it's not no wishy-washy, giving us some.
This is serious.
This is the authority.
Yes.
The authority.
Good point. And the word important is the word awla, which means authority. And then from that same word, the Prophet says, Man kuntu mawla, fahada Ali al-mawla. Wherever I have authority over, Ali has authority over. And then he continues. And he continues to say about the leadership of Imam Ali being the successor to him. Now, different schools of thought may not agree with us. But right away, Abu Bakr and Umar shook the hand of Imam Ali and they congratulated him. But still in history, we know from history. If you look at history, forget about beliefs right now, okay? History showed Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman were the leaders of the community in terms of governorship. They took the leadership. But Imam Ali didn't fight them for that. He just said, okay. And he helped them. He didn't fight the Muslims. He didn't argue and cause fitna. He says, no, we have to unite. If they're not going to follow me, fine. He said, I don't even want this leadership, honestly. He says, it means nothing to me. It's like the wetness of a goat. But they still chose him. The whole community chose him as the fourth Khalifa. Anyway, and then after this ayat was revealed, and then after the Prophet said this point, then the ayat was revealed, Al-Yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum. Today I've perfected you for your religion. After this point. And we've covered this in the past. I don't want to dwell on these points of differences. I'd rather point on what the similarities are. But I want to clarify something. Now, Allah says in another ayat of the Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu atiyu Allah wa atiyu Rasul wa ulil amril minkum. Allah says, O you believe, obey Allah, obey the messenger, and those in authority from among you. So some people say, well, that means we can follow the Prophet and then all the kings of today, or George Bush of the United States when he was in charge. No, of course not. Nowhere in the Quran would allow you to follow the unjust. It's against the Quran. It's against, if you look at the Quran is totally saying don't follow these bad people. Follow people who have goodness. So contrary to Quranic injunctions, we should never follow wicked rulers. So when they say Yazid is in power, we follow him? Of course not. If he's killing the family of the Prophet, we clearly know that was wrong. Everybody in the world should know that. And there's some scholars today going online saying, Yazid was a great man. Okay, he can think what he wants. There's one brother, it was something amazing. When he talked, he was very sharp as a young boy. Some people says, why do you put down Yazid? Well, he did something wrong. Well, I think he's great. He says, okay, I prayed a lot on Day of Judgment, he puts you with him. Oh, wait a second, don't say that. Okay, I'm not trying to, again, bash. But the guy killed the family of the Prophet. I don't want to be near him on the Day of Judgment, inshallah. And Allah will deal with him. Okay, let's continue. So you may say, well, brother, why are you dwelling on the past? The past is past, let's move forward. I agree. Let's clarify what's going on. Let's stop this improper scholars who are bashing other schools, and they're bashing and misinforming people and saying hate, hate, hate. Anyone who preaches hate, there's something wrong. Anyone who preaches love, you can tell, okay, that's the teachings of the Prophet. He taught love of humanity. He didn't teach hate. Now, there's a lot of people who don't believe in this Ulul Amr being Ali ibn Abi Talib and the chosen of the Prophet, chosen of Allah. A lot of people don't believe that. But if you look at, for example, the Sunni scholars, Imam Fakhruddin al-Razi, he clearly says this Ulul Amr group must be perfect in terms of integrity. Otherwise, Allah would not have linked Allah, the Prophet, with that. And those who have been invested with authority. He wouldn't have linked it. There's a reason why Allah linked it. A very good point. Now let's go back to the followers of Ahlul-bayt. And sometimes, I'm telling you, we have this blindness. We have this hatred, and we should not. I know 2 years ago we talked about Fatima Zahra, and one brother was saying, why didn't you bash, the person who stole her fadak? Stole the gift that the Prophet gave to the Fatima. Why don't you bash it by name and cause anger? Look, brother, it happened in history, and it was given back eventually. But I'm not going to cause fights here. It's not the environment. So let's talk about what happened. Abu Bakr was going to return back fadak. Did you guys know that? He was going to give it back. After Fatima Zahra came to the Abu Bakr and fought and described that the prophets do give inheritance. There is walithuni. The Prophet Sulaiman inherited from Dawood. It's clear that the prophets do give. And this was given at the time of the Prophet because of an ayat of Quran. And Allah is saying, give to your near ones. Give them, their gifts. So what happened? After Fatima spoke to Abu Bakr, he was about to, wrote a piece of paper, and wrote it, and he was crying actually. And that's according to this, I'm going to give you the hadith. Ali bin Burhandu bin Shafi, even Muhammad Bakr Sadr book, you can, about Fadak, the history of Fadak, it's all there. In this guy's book, it's Tariq Siratul Halabiyah. He wrote that Abu Bakr was moved to tears by Fatima's passionate speech, and he wept because of Fatima's plight. And subsequently, he wrote a document stating that he was going to return Fadak back to Fatima, who Fatima and her family, the Ahlul-bayt, were just going to give it to the poor, all the things that come from it. But we know what happened in history. Umar come and ripped that document. But you may say, well, that was wrong. Okay, that was injustice. We saw that. But later in history, the Muslims were upset about this. And we know, for example, Umar ibn Abdulaziz gave it back. And we know when he died, it was taken back again. There's some scholars even said Umar gave it back. Umar, the successor to Abu Bakr. I'm not sure how true that is, but it's in history books, it's in hadith books. And then, again, after Umar ibn Abdulaziz died, it was taken, a part was even given to, I don't know if you know this, but Muawiyah gave a part to Yazid, which we were talking about right now, and he gave a part to Marwan bin Hakam, which, if you said it's for the Ummah, why are we dividing it again? And this is why there's anger by some schools of thought. But let's get over this, because where is it today? Who owns it today? We have no clue. I know probably the Saudis took it over. It's 30 miles away from Medina. It's a beautiful garden, and a lot of everything is driven that way towards Qaiba. It's nice. But where is it today? It's gone, okay? It's in the hands of other people. What is important is the ayat of Quran, chapter 17, verse 26, where the Prophet was told, give the near family their due. That's why the Prophet gave it. We didn't like the injunction that it was taken from them. There was injustice. But eventually it was given back. Even unfortunately, people who were like Mamun al-Rashid even gave it back. And we know he killed Imam al-Rida. But let's move on from that point. Aisha. This is a point that a lot of Muslims argue about. I have to say it clearly today. If anybody is disrespecting anybody, it's wrong. We as followers of Ahlul-bayt should never curse. We should not say bad things about somebody. And who we should follow is Imam Ali himself, the Prophet himself. You know, you may look up the hadith, and I can show you the hadith that shows how Abu Bakr might have got angry with Aisha and hit her, and Hafsa was hit by Umar. It's clear in the books. But I don't want to dwell with that. The main point there where the Muslims got angry is the Battle of Jamal. One group of Muslims fought another group of Muslims, and it was the greatest of fitnas in the history of mankind. Muslim fighting Muslim. Why? Because there were some people in the back playing the game. See, that those people are bad. Go fight them. And the Battle of Jamal happened. And the team of Imam Ali, their team won. They won the battle. What did they do in the end? They took Muhammad ibn Abu Bakr, who was the son of Abu Bakr, was on Imam Ali's side, and they took Aisha back to Medina, and they forgave her. Now, you may say, well, it's still wrong what Aisha did. Look, it says in Quran clearly. Remember the ayat I told you, النبي الأولى بالمؤمنين أنفسهم? The next part of the ayat was وَاجِهُمْ أُمَّهَاتُهُمْ, and his wives are your mothers. So at least respect her. And how do we get that? The Quran is clear, respect, and the next is you follow the teachings, the guidance of Ahlul-bayt. What did they do? They respected her. Look at what Imam Ali says in Khutbah 155, after the battle of Jamal. This is right in the heat after the battle, when he's in Basra, and he's telling the people. He says, as for me, even after all this, she will be allowed her original respect. I will give her respect. As for me. While the reckoning is with Allah. The day of judgment, Allah is going to decide. How am I going to judge, right? This is how we should be as Muslims. If you start saying bad things about somebody, it's like saying some Muslims really feel that the wives of the Prophet are the mothers. Just like saying something bad about someone's mother. They take it very sensitively. We should not be like that. Allah's the judge. Who are we to judge? Allah's the judge. Okay, we saw something injustice. We saw it. Allah's the one who's going to judge. How do we know that she cannot forgive? How do we know that all these things have happened, Allah's forgiven her? We don't know. You have something to say?
It's also on the same line, I've read in the hadith that Imam Ali salam said that we do not curse anybody. It is sufficient to say that so-and-so did such and such, but we do not curse them. So we need to, like you said, we have to deal with the truth. But when we deal with the truth, we deal with it in a respectful way.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Excellent point. So we, as followers of Ahlul-bayt, should have dignity. I mean, look at this. The wife of Prophet Lut, was she treated with this disrespect? Of course not. The wife of Prophet Nuh, was she treated with disrespect? Of course not. Even the ayat of Quran in Surah Rahim, it talks about things. At the same time, we saw the wife of Pharaoh. Do we condemn her because she's the wife of Pharaoh? Of course not. She's considered one of the greatest women that ever lived. So, okay, let's get over this anger and say, okay, we will respect. We know this happened in history. We're not going to fight about it. I mean, this happened. What are we going to do about it now? We will not allow things like that to happen again. So things like that, what's happening in Syria where we're fighting each other, we should not let it happen. The enemies are telling Iran to fight Iraq and Iraq to fight Iran in the 80s. Today is part 2 with Syria, Muslims fighting Muslims. And the weapons are coming on both sides. And we're seeing clearly, do we not see that they're trying for us to kill each other? As human beings, this is wrong. Now, there's so many rules and practices. I covered the major beliefs in a nutshell, but there's also little rules that people get angry. I mean, it's like extreme. When I went to Medina, for example, I generally made sure I prayed on earth, because that's the Prophet's way of praying. A brother would come to me and just pull a piece of, whatever I was praying, which was like dirt or a piece of paper. I wanted it to be tahara. He would come and take it away from me. I just laughed at the guy. I said, okay, man, doesn't want me to pray. I'll pray on the marble or something. It was just weird. Some people get so sensitive. At the same time, if you go to the schools of Ahlul-bayt, they don't like when you pray so close to each other. But you know, it's the hadith, the Prophet says, pray shoulder to shoulder, foot to foot. Don't step on each other's foot. I mean, come on. So I don't want to get into the details of all these extreme rules. Because within the 4 schools of thought, Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi, Hanbali, they have differences, okay? It's books and books about the differences of each other. And the Jafri school of thought, who was actually the teacher of both Abu Hanifa and Malik, and they were clearly the students of Imam Jafar Sadiq, who we find as the 6th Imam, as the follower of Ahlul-bayt. We follow that. But say Ash-Shafi was a student of Muhammad ibn Hassan al-Salbani, who was a student of Abu Hanifa, and Ahmad was a student of Ash-Shafi. So they're all connected to Ahlul-bayt again. We're all connected. We're all connected to Allah, the Prophet, and his family. It's all linked. Why do we get angry if this guy has one madhab versus another madhab, or that maraj, or that school of thought? Okay, you can follow that. Just don't cause anger, hatred, and killing, and problems on this earth. We shouldn't have this hate. So some people say, you know what? It's not, brother, I agree with you. Shia Sunni, there's unity. But what about these extremist Salafi, Wahhabi guys in Saudi Arabia? Everybody in Saudi Arabia is wacko. I've been there for 3 years. It's not like that, okay? Even they laugh at the jurists. They laugh. There's one, for example, there's one guy who came out and says everything is haram on TV. Anyone who has a TV station is going to hell. Everybody's laughing. So the princes own the television stations of Saudi Arabia. They were laughing. So we shouldn't accept that when people say that. I remember one brother, it was when I used to go to Saudi Arabia, I used to meet clients. One brother was telling me, I had a dream. I said, amazing, why? Why are you telling me? He said, I know you're a follower of Ahlul-bayt. I want to tell you this dream. Okay, what? I had a dream I saw Imam Mahdi. And you know where I saw him? I saw him in Al-Husayniyah. Tell me what that is. I said, you tell me. Those are the followers of Ahlul-bayt. Okay, it's extreme, but this is a guy telling me this. One brother, for example, when we had these camps, one brother came to me and says, I know you brothers pray with your hands straight, like on attention. And I know the Maliki school of thought, most of them pray with this school, and sometimes they're beginning to change. There's actually a political movement for stopping that. It's okay. They pray, guys. That's important. But he says, I had this friend who was a pure-hearted soul, and he was crying. He didn't know how to pray. He was like the hand on top, in the middle, or lower, or straight. He didn't know. And he was sincere. He was praying to God and wanted to pray right. So that night he had a dream of the Prophet. And this is from the Sunni school of thought. He said he saw the Prophet praying. And that was the most important. And his hands were dangling, but he woke up with the point of he was praying. And that's what we should do. We as followers of Ahlul-bayt, dangling means hands were down, okay? But okay, stop getting so technical, okay? The guy is praying. That's most important. So, a lot of the schools of thought, the difference is everybody, there's a group, I call them the University of Takfir. Have you heard of what Takfir University is? Everybody's a kafir. If you don't follow them, you're a kafir, okay? Let's not go to that school, okay? We avoid that way of life. Everybody is a pure soul. It grows up in an environment and they're judged by their duties. There's no original sin in Islam, guys. We don't believe in that. Everybody's born pure, and their actions which drives them. And we need to help each other. So, one point, and you're talking about fiqh and the rules, and I told you, Imam Jafar Sadiq was a teacher of Abu Hanifa and Malik, and then Shafi and Hanbali were their students' teachers. So anyway, to the point of everybody gets angry about fixed-term marriages. Everybody says, you guys are kafirs. Why? Because you believe in fixed-term marriages. Fixed-term, what do you mean? Muta? Yeah, you guys believe in muta. You guys are haram. It's in Quran. What are you telling me? Tell Allah. It's nothing to do with me. I've nothing to do with it. It's chapter 4, verse 24. And they call Shias kafir. And the Sunnis, at the same time, they have something very similar. It's called misyar. Very similar, but they don't say something against that. Why do we focus on these little differences? There's a difference between permanent marriage, fixed-term marriage, and even during the time of the Prophet, there was marriages amongst your servants. But then there's all this anger. Chapter 4, verse 24, it's clear, which means muta. Anyway, I'm not going to focus on that. There's a disagreement. No one says you have to follow that. It's just there. Okay, well, one important point about it, why you say it's, something important in Islam. It's in the Quran. Why would Allah put it in the Quran? Look what Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib says. And this is Imam Talabi and Tabari in their tafsir of Ahmad ibn Hanbal in his Musnad, connecting all the verses of Muta. And they say, Imam Ali said, alayhi salam, if Umar had not put a restraint on Muta, no one except the unfortunate person would ever commit fornication on this earth. It would be God. We would not have these problems of zina and these horrible problems on this earth today, where everybody's cheating on everybody. You would wipe that problem out. Only the extreme few would be doing this haram. Majority of the world would be indulging in marriage. Unfortunately, it was removed by some schools of thought, and it's generally practiced during times of war. I've even seen it. But anyway, I wish our youth had something that they can figure out how they know who they're going to marry. And they go through a lot of problems. And they end up doing the haram things. And unfortunately, they're suffering because of what happened in history. Now, you may say, okay, what's the big deal? Wudu. It says in Quran, masa. Or for example, salah. I told you, okay, maybe in Canada it's cold, you want to fold your hands? Okay, I understand that, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pray with my hands straight, and that's fine. You can pray one verse another way. The concept of turba. Oh my God. They say, you Shias, you worship rocks. We don't worship rocks. Just like we don't worship the carpet, nor do we worship the Kaaba, nor do we worship the Quran when we kiss it. We don't. It's clear. But let's open the books and show you. For example, Abu Sa'd al-Khudri said, I saw the Prophet praying on mud in water. I saw the mark of mud on his forehead. And this is in Al-Bukhari, in the English translation, Volume 1, Book 12, number 798. And Volume 3, Book 33, and number 244. So it's clearly in the books. Okay, Abu Bakr, he did sujood and prayed on the earth. This is in Kanaz Alamul 838. Umar, he prayed on a rock. This is in Al-Musnaf bin Ibn Sayba 2 verse 411. Jabir ibn Abdullah Ansari and Anas bin Malik said, I was praying with the Prophet at Doha prayers, and I took a rock and I put it in my hand and I flipped it over to the other hand because of the extreme heat, and then I did prostration on the rock. So this is in the books that they prayed on earth. We don't pray on something we wear, we don't pray on something we eat, and we pray on something that's natural of earth, like a date palm branch or earth or rock. Okay, it's not like we're worshiping it. We're just doing prostration, just like we're prostrating on a mat. Okay, all this is gone. All this is over. And what does Allah say? Ya ayyuhan nas, inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha wa ja'alnakum shu'uban wa qaba'ila lita'arafu inna akramakum indallahi atqakum inna Allaha alimun khabir. Clearly, Allah is telling us what to do in His eyes. Allah says, "Oh, you humanity, surely we have created you male and female, in tribes and families that what lita'arafu, that you know each other. When I begin to know you and you know me, you're not going to say, oh, this guy is a whack. Maybe you will, but anyway, you're going to still say something bad about me, but it's fine. I won't say something bad about you. What does that cause? Unity. When I lived near France, we always hear France, guys hate Muslims. When you go to France, I'm telling you, 25% of the places we saw were Muslim. So the majority of the areas were Muslim. And they're not that bad, okay? All right, they don't want you to wear hijab in their schools. All right, that's kind of a problem because you celebrate Christmas, but you don't want religious holidays, religious celebrations. I don't know, there's some conspiracy there, but anyway. Allah says the most honored amongst you are those who have taqwa. Taqwa, brothers and sisters, who have followed unity of the goodness of God, who have God consciousness. Again, Allah says in chapter 21, verse 92 and 23, verse 52. It says, Ummatan wahidatan. Allah says, you are one ummah. Why are we dividing? Indeed, this community is one community. One ummah. So worship me, Allah says, and be wary of me. That's the importance. We as brothers and sisters of different schools of thought, we love each other because we all love Allah. We all worship the same God. We follow the Quran, the Prophet, and yes, there's some negative history behind us. Let's move forward and say, okay, let's agree to disagree. You want to follow your way, and I'll follow my way, but we will at least have the majority is similar. I'm not going to call you a bid'ah kafir, and you're not going to do that to me, and if you do, at least I'll forgive you. If you step on my foot, I'll forgive you. I'm not going to make a war out of it, okay? We have to learn from the mistakes of history. When Cain and Abel, we didn't learn from that mistake? It's clear in the Quran. One brother killing another brother, which was wrong. That's clear in history. We saw the Battle of Jamal, clearly wrong. Muslims fighting Muslims. The wars that have been in history where so many human beings have been killed is clearly wrong. Why are we doing it again? We should be united as Muslims, united as a community, united as human beings under Allah. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.